Um, yes, on the lessons learned, I think it would be ignorant of me not to do some self-reflection and see where we went wrong. However, I've always said that I have got an open door policy with all the parties. In actual fact, just after now, I approached some of the parties just before I walked out and said, let's sit around the table and see what the problems are that are not being attended to. Because we have instituted the Back to Basics program. Every single Friday we are out into the communities as well, so that I can see on the ground what is happening and not just on a report. So yeah, we definitely will have a look at that, make corrective measures, and see where we can improve. The notion that I'm not in townships is really a notion. I spend 80% of my time in townships. So that is a notion, and a one-sided one for that matter. But at the end of the day, as a mayor, I look at Ekurhuleni as a collective. We have to concentrate on the poor of the poor, and we have to make sure that we make our budgets available for the poor of the poor. And that maybe brings me to also the question of there's no money in the city. We are, and we're already in processes of bringing in an adjustment budget into council. That adjustment budget, when we look at the adjustment budget, we see where departments are not performing, what is not essential, and they redirect money to where it is actually and crucially needed. And that is quite crucial that we do this as a matter of urgency, because we were already in those processes of doing it. One of them is, if you look at the solid waste that has collapsed within the city, that is one of the processes where the adjustment budget will also be redirected. And that also then flows over into all communities. Speaking to a negotiation with other coalition partners. Obviously, if there are other parties that want to join us in a coalition and they've got the same outlook as what we have, they also look at our coalition agreement. It is quite a lengthy document, and every coalition partner has signed that document, and we have committed to that document. And that's why you saw the strength that we had. Not once did we actually veer from each other. We had signed and committed on a document that is crucial to us to bring services as a collective. So we stand for the rule of law, and yeah, we will definitely speak to other parties. And as I said, I've always had that open door policy where every single party is open to come and discuss any matters with me as the mayor. And I have had many parties as the mayor in my parlour where we have discussed very important matters relating to services and communities within Ekurhuleni. So yes, maybe I was a bit cheeky to say I will see you again, but I did have an inclination, because this motion was frivolous. It had very little basis to it, and also it was a personal attack, and it was a personal interest from the ANC. And when you do not have your own house in order, how do you expect to carry a motion of that magnitude through? So yes, we had an inclination that this would most probably come to an end at some point. I am very surprised that they had, or their structures allowed that motion to go as far. Because if you look at it going as far as what it did, and how communities have suffered in the last 2.5 weeks, where our items cannot go through because of executive powers being withdrawn, I think that is to the detriment of the communities that they do say they serve. However, that type of behaviour does not reflect it whatsoever. Then, yeah, I'll be repaying the EFF with a meeting to see where the problems are that they have raised within the media. However, we do have meetings on an ongoing basis on things. So no, I definitely won't be buying cars and presents and paybacks and deals and positions. But when you look at the stability of the city, that is my main focus, is to bring stability to the city. I have always had a good relationship with other parties within council. It has never come to the point where it was a position situation. I did not ask for the support, and I do thank them, however, for that support. Yes, I think I have answered all the questions.
Do another round of 5, starting with the gentleman right at the back there.
My name is Norman Masumbeli from City Press. Are we going to see a reconfiguration of the council? In other words, I'm asking, are you going to retain the current MMC, or you are going to move things around?
Thank you. Next question.
From the Business Day, I don't think my colleague's question on the city's finances was thoroughly answered, but just to add on it, what is the state of the city's finances? Because yesterday I was at the Salga Provincial Congress Summit in Tshwane, which ends today, where they basically raised concern over the city's finances, saying that at the beginning of September, the city had some 1.8 billion in its coffers, but by the end of September, it was in the red by 1.44 billion rand. So what led to that? Thank you.
Thanks again, Numani again from KCFM. Mayor, you are saying that you and the FF councillors, you get along, obviously, locally, and one of your caucus leader alluded to that, saying that you were attending Dunga's birthday party, but you could not attend his wedding. I want to find out, how does the fighting between your upper structures, nationally and provincially, affect your work here as a local municipality? You realized last week that the way between Salim Simang and Bongani Malu, the way those statements blaming each other. Now that you are back together again, but how are you going to ensure that your top leaders toe the line in terms of their position, in terms of different things that you fight about?
Anyone else? No? Okay. I think we'll just close with those questions then.
Okay. Yes, I think once we've done reflection on what our immediate outcomes are and what our immediate plans are, we will reflect on the MNCs, because there are positions also that have not been filled, that will be filled this time around, because we need to give optimum services to our residents. I will also be speaking to the MNCs and find out what the weaknesses and strengths are, so that we can harness that, because it is important to harness those strengths to get the best outcome for the city. And coming to the finances, there is definitely a stretch on finances. There is strain on finances. If you have a look at the first load shedding, the city had lost 2 billion. The second stage 6 load shedding, we haven't had a report as yet, but I do have a forecast that it would not be a favourable forecast from this load shedding. We had emergency meetings to set up to have recourses where our residents could pay the bills, get money into the city, but harsher measures will have to be taken. And I think anybody who says that the city is not struggling when it comes to load shedding, or any business, is actually not being forthcoming and honest. So yes, of course there's this strain on the finances due to external circumstances that we can't prevent right now. We have set in place IPPs within the city, so that we can have a cushioning on load shedding going forward, and that will help our city to not just for the businesses, but for residents as well, and small businesses, to be able to do business within the city without interruptions. And that then has a very positive flow over to your city's finances as well. Attending somebody's birthday party and versus somebody's wedding. Firstly, I did not get an invitation to go to a wedding. And yes, if any other party had to invite me to their wedding, their child's baptism, whatever the case may be, as a mayor, and I can put it into my schedule, of course I'll be there. I don't say because you're from a certain party I'm going to turn my back on you. It doesn't mean that I'm in bed with you either. You know, a funny thing, at the last council meeting, I turned around and spoke to a certain councillor, and the next minute we were tweeted that we were busy making deals. You know, so we work in those type of circumstances where if you are talking to someone on a friendly basis or work basis, or then all of a sudden you're having all these deals. What we do have is a good relationship, an amicable relationship. I speak to many parties, and no, I was not invited to a wedding, but I would have liked to have gone.